everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Expat Career and Lifestyle podcast. This is Dominika, your host, and today I am coming to you with a special guest, Stanka Ranchev. She's a financial coach and founder of Your Kick-Ass Money. And today with Stanka, we are going to speak about how to manage your money and about your financial challenges and money mindset. So it's a very interesting topic, and I am really happy to have Stanka with us. Hello, Stanka.
Hi, Dominika, and I'm very happy to be here too.
Great. So we are ready to learn more about the financial part of our journey. So please, first of all, tell us more about you, how your international journey started, because you are expat and you are living abroad. So tell us a little bit more and about you.
Yeah, well, my journey started with a big no, a big fat no from my parents when I was a kid. They wouldn't allow me to travel and explore. I have a father who is an ex-policeman, so very stiff in his decisions around letting his kids travel and explore the world. So as soon as I got that no, I was pretty much set on. I had that mindset as soon as I turned 18, I'm off and I'm gonna go and explore the world as much as I can. And I set on this plan to live in a different country every year, not just to visit and travel, but to live there. And I was doing pretty well. I've actually lived in 5 different countries. I've explored quite a bit. I figured it out through either internships or different exchange programs. And I traveled to quite a few places. I met my husband in the US and didn't expect to meet my future husband. But then the year afterwards, I went to live in Portugal. But then somehow we kept in touch and we had a 2-year long distance relationship. After Portugal, I went back to the US and I knew that was the person for me, my best friend. And then after the US, I moved to Denmark, which is where I'm living at now. And he joined me a year later. So my plan was very successful until I got to Denmark in a way, because without any plans to stay, I'm still here many years later. And we have an agreement with my husband. We're staying until we both don't like it anymore, which hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, fantastic. So what was your biggest challenge in this international journey?
Well, I have a few different challenges. One of them was financial, because I told my parents, first of all, they couldn't support me financially, but I also told them that if I cannot make it on my own, I'm gonna come back. So I will not be traveling if I cannot make it on my own. So I had to figure different ways to pay for my travels, to sponsor myself. And I was very creative in that. When you want something, you figure out a way to get it. And then the other aspect of it was really, it's the good and the bad part of being an expat. You meet so many different people and you enrich yourself, you learn about so many different cultures. But then as soon as you move to another place, you really lose connection with these people. It's not the same. Writing online and meeting online is not really the same as living in the same country. And then, of course, when you have many friends who are expats themselves, they travel and they leave you after a while. So keeping in touch with people and making some good friends on the way has been quite challenging. I think, of course, I'm getting a little bit older now. It's becoming even more challenging with age, as everyone has been warning me throughout the years. But yeah, figuring out the social aspect of things, I would say.
Yeah, so being in touch with people, who are living.
Exactly. Just as an example, when I moved to Denmark, I was much younger. I've been living here since 2009. I had so many friends in the beginning, the first few years, and then most of them actually, for one reason or another, moved to another country. And then I had to start all over again to be very active, very proactive in finding new friends and nurturing those relationships.
That's very important. And we are right. Yeah, when you are getting older, it's getting harder. Also.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, like in terms of your career transition, because you had a wonderful career. So, how was this transition? What prompted you to become a financial coach?
Yeah, it's an interesting transition. Just to give some backgrounds to the listeners, I have both business and IT education, and I've been working for the past 9 years for one of the biggest companies in Denmark, Novo Nordisk. It's a pharmaceutical company, and previously I was also working at Microsoft. So very IT oriented career. I was leading technical teams, implementing huge projects, and I was responsible for huge budgets too. So very standard career, I would say. I set out on education in business and IT. I continued. I got the interviews. I got into the companies that everyone wanted to be in. But somehow I started, over the last few years, I started losing that spark in my eyes, so to speak. I was losing the motivation and the interest in what I was doing in a way. And the part that I really loved about my job was coaching and leading my teams. It was mentoring and helping people figure things out themselves. So the coaching part was very interesting. On the other hand, because I was responsible for millions, I had to figure out really good and structured ways to manage money. And my colleagues were relying on me for that. I got a lot of questions for the ways I was doing it. And apparently I was good at it. So I was thinking, why not combine the two? And to add to that, I had my own struggles from childhood throughout my life, because of the way I was raised, because of the place where I grew up. I had my own struggles and I had to overcome them. And I had this idea, this epiphany, I would call it, that why not combine all of that into something that can help other people not go through the same struggles. So financial coaching more or less combines my love for coaching, my own mission to help other people not go through the same struggles that I had, and also implementing the skills and tools that I learned managing huge budgets, basically.
Yeah. So, like what do you see, like based on your own experience and also like working with your clients, like what are like the biggest challenges or like limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs that we can have about as an expat or as an expat woman moving and living abroad, about money, like your financial freedom or even like money management? What are those main beliefs, limiting beliefs that we can have?
Yeah, that depends so much that depends so much on the person themselves. If you come from, for instance, I can give you an example, for instance, with the US or Denmark. If you come from a country that is generally considered as less economically stable, and you move to another country where the salaries are higher, the expenses are higher, you feel a lot of this imposter syndrome in a way, in the way that you think about money. It's not being good enough to earn as much as everyone else, or for instance, if you're in a situation where your spouse is the only one working and earning money, and that is actually the reason why you moved to the country, following your spouse's career, that could also be very triggering for a lot of women. If you have the opportunity to work because of the residence permit that you have, that's great, but not everyone has that. So how do you see your own value compared to the money that you earn if you don't earn anything? Is your value linked to the money and to the financial situation? Or are you seeing yourself as someone who can bring a lot of other things to the table and your value doesn't depend on money? And then the other mindset shift that a lot of people need to work on is actually the limit that you have around money. You have this saying, money doesn't grow on trees. That's an interesting mantra that a lot of people have. And it means that you put a lot of work into earning money, and work has to be really hard to get you the money. That's not always the case. I mean, you can also work smarter, not harder. So it really depends on where you come from and how you were raised, and what are the beliefs that you were taught or that you built yourself growing up. How your parents were talking about money or not talking about money at all. Were they fighting? Were they not mentioning money at all? Was it always a tense subject? And you didn't feel like you could ask questions? So it so much depends on your past, basically, and people don't realize that. When you talk about money, it's more or less like, what is the current situation, or what are the future goals that I want to achieve? But there is so much behind it that is driving your decisions that you don't even realize is playing a role in your life.
Yeah, so it's like your cultural background, and how you were also raised in your family. Yeah, so I can like identify with many of those limiting beliefs, like coming from Poland, so a country, a country that have this less, let's say, financial freedom and financial independence. So I can identify very much with all those limiting beliefs. And also, like, what I know that it's important to work on them, especially if you have a business or you are looking to grow professionally in your career, and also to have this financial freedom that everyone is talking now about. So like, what are like the steps, like maybe the key steps to work on your mindset, like leaving the scarcity mindset and working more on your abundance mindset, let's say?
Yeah, well, I would say the very first step is to dig deeper into the past, and try to point out some moments in your past where you remember people talking about money or you thinking about money. What happened? What are the thoughts that crossed your mind? What are the beliefs that you built at that point? And start questioning them. Because if you don't question the way you think about money, you cannot talk about financial independence or abundance mindset. It's really, and sometimes that's difficult. A lot of people don't question the way they think. They just think the way they think, and it's always been the way it is, and you don't even realize it. If you don't realize it, you don't question it, obviously. This is actually part of the work that I, as a financial coach, do. Of course, we work with the numbers and make a plan, but the part that is interesting is having someone else question the way you think and some of the statements that you make or some of the decisions that you make. Why did you do that? What was really behind it? Because if you don't dig deeper into that, it's really hard to think about the future. So starting with the past is the first step, I would say. Then as soon as you figure out these new beliefs, these beliefs that you have ingrained in your brain, you need to figure out what are the beliefs that you want to replace those. So what do you want to believe? What do you want to think? And how do you want to act when it comes to money in the future? So figuring that out is actually quite important, just as important as figuring out what you've been using your whole life. And then, of course, then the next and the most difficult step is actually changing it. So switching from one to the other, building that new habit, building that new muscle. I would say financial knowledge and mindset I can easily relate it to the fitness industry or the diet industry is something that it's really hard to change if you don't put your mind to it. We all know how everyone makes these New Year's resolutions, end of year, 1st of January, and then everyone starts super strong and then signs up for a fitness subscription and so on. By mid-February, everybody is like back to normal. That new habit that you wanted to change is really not there. It was quite hard to maintain what you set out to do beginning of the year. So it's pretty much the same, making sure that new habit is incorporated in your lifestyle. So it actually fits your lifestyle, it fits your beliefs, and it's not impossible to put in action, because sometimes people want to start really, really big and go all in to changing the habits. But that's not really a good way of doing it, because you're setting yourself up for failure, basically. You need to start small and you need to start very smart, trying to find some pre-established habits in your daily life that you could use to incorporate the new ones.
Yeah, so also working on your habits, and also like learning more, I think, also like having this financial knowledge that about
Definitely. I mean, the knowledge part is substantial. It's very, very important. Speaking of the mindset part, these are the steps. But when we talk about the knowledge, the financial literacy part, that's of course a very important building block to have, because just the mindset is not going to get you anywhere if you don't know the basic financial literacy if you don't have the financial literacy education behind it to support your plan. And some people do have it, and that's the funny thing about money. Money is not a numbers game. You might know your numbers very well. Actually, a lot of accountants and a lot of financial advisors are really good at the numbers. I myself have an economics degree, and guess what? I myself struggled with money. And it wasn't because I didn't have the knowledge of how to do it. It was my mindset behind it, really, that I needed to work with. But yeah, you definitely need to know how to work with the numbers.
So those parts, I think that mindset, this is the most important part. Then what I have like also learned, and I wanted to ask you about, through running my business, is to have clear financial goals. That for example, for me, it wasn't important when I was working like in the normal job, let's say traditional job, 9 to 5. So okay, of course I wanted to have a number of a salary at the end of the month, but it wasn't so important for me to be clear on my financial goals. But through like running my business, I learned that this part is important. So is it true? And like, how can we get clear about our financial goals, and like what to do to reach those goals also?
Well, if you don't have goals, how do you know where you're heading? That's the question you should ask yourself. So of course you could try to go in all different directions, and you might be successful for sure. But if you don't have a specific goal that you're targeting, you will not be able to take all of your resources and direct them towards that goal. So to me, having clear financial goals is very important. It's also very demotivating to save just for the sake of saving. People are not going to do it. Psychology shows that people are not going to save money and work just as hard as they would if they had a very clear financial goal. For instance, if you want to go on this really cool exotic holiday next year, for instance, and that's the goal that you have together with your partner. You want to go there, you want to go out for drinks, splurge a little bit, book a nice flight, not like in the middle of the night flight, but like a very convenient time, buy some nice souvenirs and just enjoy yourself and not think about money. That's a financial goal. But if you don't have it as a clear financial goal, it's so easy to go out with friends, or not even with friends, just by yourself. Go to a nice little shop with fancy things around the city, and just buy whatever just because it looks nice and so on. But if you have that financial goal in mind, you think twice. Is that nice coffee maker worth the money? Do I really need it? Or is it more of a want? Do I prefer to save that money and put it towards my nice holiday next year that I'm dreaming about? And you can envision that holiday. It's a very clear goal. It's a very clear time frame, and it's a very clear financial commitment that you're making. It's so much easier not to buy the coffee maker if you already have something at home that can satisfy that need.
Yeah. So it's also like organizing your and learning more about how you spend your money, your spending habits.
Yeah, well, the spending habits are a huge part
it's a huge topic. Yeah,
it's a huge topic, and it's the only way to get to financial independence. But I would say that if you don't have clear financial goals, and actually a lot of people don't, they have been taught that you should save. You should save, you shouldn't go in debt. So that's pretty much, I think everyone can agree that we should not go in debt in general. Some debt, it could be good debt, and we should save. That's pretty much where everybody is at. Of course, some people know a lot more about money, but saving for the sake of saving is not very motivating, really. And you might be very successful in the short run, just like with any diet or any physical exercise. But in the long run, it's not gonna, you will not be able to keep up with that habit, and it will be very demotivating. You need to have a clear goal and a motivator to help you get through the tough parts, because sometimes it's tough. Sometimes you've been working really hard all week and you're super exhausted and you don't feel like cooking, but your money for takeout has been blown away at the beginning of the week, and you're just like, I'll just order a takeout. What's the big deal, and so on. And sometimes it's not a big deal. Maybe it is a priority for you. Actually, I myself have set aside money in my budget for that, because it is a priority for me. But if your priority is to go on that really nice holiday, and that's so much more important to you than this takeout, you think twice before you order.
So thinking about what are your goals and what are your priorities and what is important for you. So like in terms of financial freedom, because now like many people, they want to have this financial freedom, for example, work online and travel and travel and earn money. So like what is like the what like for you, what does financial freedom mean?
Yeah, and I'm glad you're asking me what I see as financial freedom, because I would say it's very personal. Everyone defines financial freedom differently. And that's because it's very personal. For some people, financial freedom, I don't know if you've heard of the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. And that's an interesting concept that has been picking up the last 15 years or so. For that movement, it's about not having to work, not having a job to depend on financially, and doing whatever you want, whether that is focusing on your own side projects or traveling or whatever. For others, it's just the FI part, is the financial independence. People don't want to retire early, but at the same time, they don't want to be stuck at a job that they really hate or dislike, or just feel like they're not excited about it. They want to be able to work a job that maybe doesn't pay them so well, but they can still, with that money, they can still afford a good life and a good living. I'm sure you're familiar with the Great Resignation and what's been happening in the last few years since COVID came. it's actually pretty amazing to see how people are prioritizing their well-being and their values and personal beliefs over a well-paying corporate job. That's actually very inspiring. And if you don't have a good financial plan, you wouldn't be able to quit your job without having another one lined up right away. You wouldn't be able to allow yourself for that white space to just think and be and figure out things with time. You would have to rush into another job, or maybe take on one that you really don't like, but you're pressured to take it because of money. So a lot of people want to travel. How do you travel if you haven't saved up? How do you take a year off? How do you take 6 months off if you haven't planned for it? So financial independence is very different. What it is for me personally, it's about having choice, having choice to work what you like and not what drains you, having choice to take a break when you need it, having choice to maybe work less hours because you want to focus on family or whatever. People have different things that they want to focus on. For me, it's about having choice and having freedom to not be stuck at a job.
Wonderful, wonderful, Stanka. Thank you very much for sharing that. So having financial plans, being clear on your career goals, and working on your money habits. Those are three important things, like my own takeaways from this interview. So what are your plans? And if people, they want to connect with you and work on their financial mindset and financial plans, how they can get in touch?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to connect with me, you're welcome to come to my website. It's called yourkickassmoney.com. And there was a reason why I chose that name. I really think that you can feel empowered with money and not feel the stress and anxiety if you have a really good plan and work with your mindset. So you can kick ass with your money. And what I'm doing now is I'm focusing on expanding my business online as well, having more social presence. And then on the side of that, I'm actually exploring the startup world, where I am working on possibly a startup in the area of financial literacy, targeting specifically kids, because that's also very close to my heart. I have two girls of my own, and I'm very passionate about teaching the next generations of how to deal with money. It's not something that I'm ready to announce yet widely, but it might be coming in the future.
Great. It's a very interesting project. So let us know more in the future. And I will put the link to the website, so anyone who is interested in getting clear about financial goals and working on mindset, they can get in touch with you. Last piece of advice when it comes to working on your money mindset or managing your money.
My last piece is, don't ignore it. It's not gonna go away. If it's very important to you, set aside some resources for it, whether that is time or money or just asking for help. Because if you want to get to where you want to get, it's not going to happen with magic. It's a lot of work, but it's work that is really worth it at the end of the day, because of the way it makes you feel. That financial freedom we were talking about is really worth the effort.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that and for being with us today in this interview. Thank you very much for listening or for watching, if you are watching the video. So now please tell us, what are your own challenges when it comes to money management, money mindset, and what actions are you going to take to work on your goals and your own financial freedom? Share in the comments if you have any questions, and I will be back soon with another episode. Thank you very much, Stanka. It was great to have you today.
Yeah, and thank you, Dominika.
Yeah, so now we are going to work on our financial mindset. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.